What's up, college football fans? And of course, my usual Colorado Buffalo fans. Coming at you real quick with some breaking news that happened today that I feel like some people might have missed. So, the NCAA versus Diego Pavaya, I believe is how you pronounce it, Vanderbilt case was just ruled on. And what was that case about? Well, it was the fact that Diego was claiming that his time at junior college did not allow for him to earn NIL. And because of his junior college time, his eligibility was shrunk when he got to the NCAA, limiting his ability to cash in on his NIL and get a full education at a Division I level. So the ruling for this case came in today, and it is a massive, massive change to college football that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. So let's get into this ruling real quick and talk about how it affects the college football game and continues to change the way the game is played, the game is built, and how players will be developed from here on out. Let me read to you the ruling directly from the judge in the case. Moreover, the NCAA has recently made changes to its rules that do not appear to support the stated goal of maintaining natural and standard degree progression. Recently, the NCAA changed its rules, allowing student athletes unlimited transfers between schools. The court finds it highly implausible that frequent transfers, even those within NCAA institutions, benefit an athlete's academic career and promote natural and standard degree progression. As the plaintiff points out, institutions are not guaranteed to accept transfer credits from another institution, whether it be another NCAA institution or a junior college. The NCAA's reliance on the goal of maintaining standard degree progression when it is convenient and eschewing it when it is not leads the court to conclude that the stated goal is merely pretext to justify applying eligibility timeframe to junior college athletes, even when it is clear that junior college does not provide an academic or athletic experience equivalent to that of Division I institutions. Now, you may be saying, what does that mean exactly? Why is this important? What is this going to do to the future of college football as we know it? And people don't seem to understand how massive this is. I want to point really quickly, of course, in my thumbnail, the big story, Last Chance U, the football show that followed some junior college teams and quote unquote, the last chance for players to get back into the big time. Of course, Coach JB, who is famous on YouTube and has talked about this at length, was not too happy about the way that NIL and transfers and all of that were working. Because as he said, it's going to kill the junior college level to an extent, and it's going to harm the development of players. Well, the reason why this is so big is because it goes against that. It actually opens up the possibility that if you cannot get to a high level of football from high school, i.e. what Coach Prime and the Buffs are doing, what future teams are doing right now, that ability to say, hey, we're only going to take so many high school players because we want them to actually be effective and play in games and not just come in and sit and then transfer away. So rather than go and get big high school classes, those high school players who don't find an opportunity at a high level could go play junior college now based on this ruling and would not lose any of their 4 years of eligibility. So junior college would have nothing to do with college in itself, Division I football, and how that is affected. Okay? So that is a massive, massive thing. Of course, the NCAA is extremely upset with this, as they have been with every ruling, including the unlimited transfers, including the way that NIL has done, including the revenue sharing ruling that came down. Literally, the NCAA cannot win at this point. And in all honesty, the end is near for the NCAA because they are literally not allowed to police anything at this point, it seems. That is the Wild West of college football. And until there is a players union and a college football union that just focuses on this, they're going to have no control over how the game is ran. And so it's going to continue to be this high stakes, high money, high, player turnover league that it has become in the last couple of years. Okay. So a couple more things when it comes to this and how it affects the NCAA. I want to open up an article from the New York Times and the Athletic here and what it talks about. Okay. So in its defense, the NCAA raised an alarm that ruling for this player could ultimately lead to stripping college athletics of its defining feature, that it is played by student athletes, which we know it's going away from. This does not mean the NCAA cannot impose any eligibility rules, only that those rules will only be subject to further scrutiny to determine whether they are undue restraint on the trade and the rules. Because you can apply the rationale that the court applied to this rule to lots of different NCAA eligibility rules. The more decisions there are like this from federal courts saying the NCAA has violated antitrust law, it just makes it harder and harder for the NCAA to enforce rules, which is what I just said. Every time the NCAA has a rule and somebody is not happy with it and they take them to court, the NCAA loses. And so as a result here, you're now seeing massive changes. And so what this is saying is that if you want to go to a junior college to start your football career, it is not going to affect your 4 years. So why won't players who are not the cream of the crop, who are not going to those top Power 5 schools, who are not going to the FBS, I have no idea how this is going to relate to the FCS, how it's going to relate to other leagues. Some people were asking questions to this reporter, and he said he's not sure yet. The fact is that JUCO right now is the one that's going to be affected by this. Okay? JUCO is going to be the one affected by this. And so it's not necessarily going to trickle down just yet to the FCS, but it very well could as well, which could turn those leagues into much better forms of development and developmental paths, then leading them on to transfer to Power 4, Power 5 schools, G5 schools, whatever that may be, without losing their eligibility. That is massive, guys. I wanted to bring that information to you. Hopefully you watch this and find it interesting, because it is some massive news that I think not a lot of people are paying attention to. And it just came down today. Thought it was something that everybody should take a look at. So again, hopefully that's some good information. Feel free to look into it a little bit more. But again, the NCAA is changing and things are going to be very different from here on out, continuing forward.